from your pedigree, what are you most proud of?
Honestly, I'm most proud of, I gotta say, making the best choice in my life, which was joining the military, I think. At least for me. That was certainly that was the best decision I ever made. And I couldn't tell a kid anything else, a confused teenager like I was. I couldn't tell a kid anything else other than, if you're confused and you don't have anything else going on, you just graduate high school, you don't really want to go to college, that's not really your lifestyle, the military will get you right.
And the way you speak about it, you make it seem like it was necessary.
It was absolutely necessary.
So
absolutely necessary.
Bring myself and the viewers back to that moment, even leading up to military, where you're like, you know what? I know this is going to be difficult, but this is for me.
Man, well, I could take you right to the breakdown moment with my mother in the kitchen. I was working at I was 19 years old. I was working at grocery outlet, and I was just coming up at a year out of high school. I was working in the produce section, and man, I can remember like it was yesterday. Working in the produce section, and a couple friends I went to high school with, they were visiting Sacramento. That's where I'm from, born and raised Sacramento. They were up visiting. They were students at, I want to say, Cal Poly. And they just so happened to come into grocery outlet. We had a little conversation. We were catching up. And the way that they were talking about their college experience, and I hadn't really had much like that yet. I was making $11 an hour working at grocery outlet. Hadn't really done much with my life. Still driving the same car. Like, no real direction in life. I had to do something. It was literally in that moment I had to do something. So I went home that day. I was absolutely devastated. I was crying. I was in tears. And my mom's always been there for me. She's somebody I always looked up to for advice. And when she sees this, she's gonna probably break down and cry too. So, but when I came to her in the kitchen, I was like, Mom, I got to do something. I need your help. Like, I'm in desperate need of help. I don't know what to do. She's like, you know what to do. You knew the answer. You just had to figure it out for yourself. And the next day I went to the recruiter, and 3 weeks later, I was gone. They went through a list of jobs: infantry, 13 Bravo, which is Cannoneer crew member, a couple other jobs, and somehow landed on Patriot Missile Operator. I'm like, oh, that seems cool. Learn about missiles or whatever else. It was not what I expected, by the way, which
really?
Which anybody who joins the military will tell you that. Whatever the recruiter tells you is not what it is.
You gotta be careful now.
You have to be careful. You absolutely have to be careful.
Now, bring me into the conversation in the kitchen with your mother. She's telling you that, Dad, you know what to do. Mm-hmm. And we all know that moms know best. But just to bring yourself to that point of taking action, what was the conversation like with your mother? Hey, I need to take action on this. I'm going down to the recruiter's office. I'm going to make my next move.
It wasn't even that. It wasn't even like I at that point, you said moms know best. I needed her to almost thrust me out of the home. I had been a mama's boy, a home kid. I don't really know what you want to call it. I was afraid to make decisions for myself. So when I had that conversation with her, I was asking her, like, what do I do? And so when she said, you know what to do, you got to go down to the recruiter's office. We had this massive, breakdown, one of the very few I've had in my life, but one of the absolutely necessary moments where everything, all the stress that I was holding inside of me, all of the anxiety and the nerves, and I don't know what to do with my life, and I'm staying out late at night, and I don't, really have any direction. I don't want to go to college. I'm not ready for that yet. I want to go see the world. I want to meet new people. I want to have great conversations with people like you. Like, just for me, it was that kind of conversation, and from one thing led to another. The next day I went to the recruiter's office. It wasn't really much more than that, man.
When you say whatever the recruiter tells you is not what you're truly getting into.
Yeah.
What were some of the biggest challenges being able to adapt from civilian to soldier?
First off, my hair, man.
Looking good, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, buddy. No, that was the first thing I can. I can skip ahead a little bit in the story. So I went to basic training at Fort Sill, Oklahoma, which is I think one of 5 basic trainings in the Army, and I'm in the reception portion of basic training, and the drill sergeant is like, they're breaking you down to build you back up, and so he comes over to me, and he's ripping on everybody. He's just cracking jokes on everybody, and then he looks at me, and I had longer hair, and he goes, "Oh," you poor kid. And I was like, I didn't know what he was talking about. I didn't know I was going to get my head shaved.
Yeah.
And that very next moment, I'm bald. I got my face is tan, my head is pure white, and it just looks ridiculous. I get sunburned the next day, and I'm sitting there trying to put sunscreen on my head, and I get stuck in my hair, and it was just a miserable experience, but absolutely necessary. Yeah, man, the challenges really was removing myself from the life I had known. I'd always had mom and dad. I never really had to, this might sound cliche, I never really had to think for myself. I always had mom and dad to support me. My mom, my dad, my stepdad. I had a bunch of family. So going to that moment where you're on the plane, and that's where it really set in too. What did I just do? When I'm on the plane, I'm leaving Sacramento International Airport, and I'm flying to Oklahoma, and I'm looking out over the clouds, out of the window, and I'm just thinking, the next 10 months of my life is going to suck. I don't know what's going to happen, That's when it really kicked in, and then that first night in barracks, you're getting smoked, which means you're just doing push-ups and sit-ups, and they're just breaking you down, right? They're starting that breakdown process. It was eye-opening for me.
But when you arrived to Oklahoma, of course you're having to get in line. You're doing endless repetitions of push-ups, sit-ups. Did you know that they were breaking you down to build you back up at the time, or was that a decision you weren't ready to make on your own to commit to that?
No, I knew that, and it wasn't like I was going in completely blind either. I had family, so like my great grandfather was in the Navy during World War II for a couple of years there towards the end. My stepdad was in the Navy, and he was one of the biggest proponents of me going in the Army, at least, or at least going in the military. He told me stories of what it was like in the Philippines and what it was like overseas, and really these raw conversations on the couch, which I'm sure you had a lot of those growing up, right? When you're trying to find out what to do, your parents sit you down and they're like, what are you going to do with your life? What do you want to do? Or, you're a sophomore in high school. You're going to be 18 before you know it. You're out of the house. What do you know? Those are really those are nerve-wracking conversations. So
100%.
So I had a lot of those, and so I knew what it was going to be like. And he would tell me this is what you can expect, and this is what it's going to be like, but you never really know until you experience it yourself. So was I shocked that all of that was happening to me? No. Did I know it was necessary? Yes. Would I subject myself to all of that again? Probably.
Yeah.
If I had to do it over again?
Yeah.
I absolutely would, yeah.
So you miss it?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I miss it every day.
Do you miss the military, or do you miss the friends you made?
I've been asked that question time and time again, and I feel like I've always given a different answer, but I've whittled it down to I miss the camaraderie, man. The camaraderie that you're a part of something that's bigger than yourself, and you'll hear that all the time throughout life. But you really are a part of something. You're a part of a mission, whatever that overarching mission is. There's a lot of different missions in the military, but for me, just being able to go through the good times and the bad times, you're always around people who can talk to you, who can help you, and you're always around somebody who's going through the same exact thing that you are. So it's the camaraderie that I miss the most, man. And that's something that when you transition out, you're never prepared for. You're never prepared to lose that, ever. And it's really hard to find once you get out here. Not saying that you can't, but that's why you see, in my opinion, a lot of military folks, as soon as they get out, maybe a couple months, a couple years after, they end up finding themselves going into these veterans groups or going into, CrossFit groups or whatever, whatever their niche is, to find that camaraderie again, that camaraderie that they lost.